let's look at how autofocus tracks. Near, far, near, far. iPhone is flawless. And it can do this because it's a much smaller sensor, and the physics are such the lens has to move much less far to focus from near to far, or even at macro distances. It's all good. Track it in, out, beautiful. Okay, here it is, a Nikon Z5 Mark II. This is a 24 to 50 millimeter lens. Gee, did it finally get focus? Yeah, 24 to 50 millimeter lens. And because there's so much to move in this lens, wow, it does a great job of autofocus. Look at that. Wow, really fast. So fast, oh my gosh. Now, if you're a professional cinematographer, full-time, ASC member, work in Hollywood every day and have 3 days or weeks to set up lighting, get your set lit well, and you get the highlights and shadows to look great, but the problem is this large format camera here, this full frame camera, highlights and the shadows don't look as well. Everything looks harsh. Oh my gosh. The Nikon now is focusing off to the side. You can't see that in the video, but it's focusing still locked onto the lower right corner. Now in Hollywood, you can use professional cinema camera because you have assistant cameramen or focus pullers that'll sit there and manually focus on everything. But the myth of trying to use these full frame cameras for video, if you're anything less than a full-time cinematographer, this is what you get. I'm sorry. You know, and I'm gonna cut back to another cut now from my iPhone so you can compare. Here you are again with the iPhone. Look at the highlights and the shadows and the colors here in harsh sunlight. And oh, it just focuses. And guess what? What you didn't see is with the Nikon camera, I was having to twiddle with settings and tap focus buttons and so forth just to get it to do stuff. The iPhone just works. And this isn't even the cinematic mode. Here's the cinematic mode, which emphasizes the defocus. But you'll notice it actually does focus. And it tracks. Here I am in harsh midday summer sun. I'm entirely in shadow. And I'm walking backwards here, and I'm probably gonna fall over, which you guys will find very amusing. But the thing is, look at the stabilization. This is shot on the iPhone, and it can handle highlights and shadows and make the picture look watchable completely in the worst possible light that I could ever possibly imagine here. And here's what we get with the Nikon Z5 Mark II. Walking around here, the stabilization's inferior, and also this is not any dig on the Nikon. Actually, the Canons and Sonys do the same thing, and it's sad. People get all excited about buying one of these mirrorless cameras for video when the iPhone that they already have does a much better job. You see, this camera can't handle highlights. See, look at my forehead, totally washed out. The shadows are awful. Colors are bizarre. Colors are abysmal, and that's what we get. So nobody ever dares compare one or the other because people assume that, quote, the better camera is going to give better video, but no, for video, you really want iPhone. And to circle back again, here's what I get on iPhone. Great colors. See, my forehead is not totally gone. It's working really hard to make it into a useful, visible, beautiful picture. There's a lot of magic that goes on in the iPhone that no one ever talks about, but it's constantly shooting in HDR and making the picture look like it would look to our eyes, as opposed to requiring all kinds of processing, post-processing, as well as supplemental lighting. That's the thing about working in Hollywood. You see a set with, you know, thousands of lights and scrims and gobos and scaffolding and all that stuff. All that complexity is done purely for the purpose of making it look like they're not using any supplemental lighting at all. It's really that simple. So I hope this shows just a couple of the reasons. It's the stabilizations, it's the colors, it's the highlights and shadows, and pretty much everything about the image, as well as the audio. If there's wind, is always so much better on my iPhone than shooting it on a more supposedly advanced camera.